Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be recreating this polygel set. First off, we're going to start off by cutting the natural nail length. Next off, we're going to use Blue Cross cuticle remover so it can soften the cuticles. Everything I use is off of Amazon, so I'll probably link everything down below. We're going to push back the cuticles. So now we're going to use some nippers to cut off the pushback cuticles. I feel like what makes it easier for me to cut them is the softener, the cuticle softener that I used earlier. It makes everything easier to cut, so I definitely recommend, especially if you're a beginner, to use it. Even like I have like 1 year of doing nails and I still use it because I don't feel comfortable without it. Also, I'm really sorry that in some parts of this video it's out of frame or my hand is covering. I'm really sorry. I was trying to work around it, but I couldn't really waste time. I had to focus on my client's nails. So now we're going to use a sanding band, and what this does is go all over your natural nail bed to take away shine and create scratches. By taking away the shine, what you're actually doing is taking away the oils that are sitting in your natural nail bed that can later on cause lifting. Also, by creating scratches, what you're doing is letting the gel have something to adhere to. The sanding band that I'm using right now is a 240 grit, and the way that it breaks is the higher the number, the less coarse it is. So if I were to go, it would be 80, 100, 120. 80 would be the highest. I use the softest one on my natural nail bed because all I want to do is just take away the shine and create scratches. So I wouldn't need anything more than that. What we're going to do is we're going to size out the tip, and basically she wanted a coffin tip or square type of look, and you gotta make sure that the sidewalls align with the tip, if that makes sense. So if it's smaller, just size it up bigger, even though it'll like kind of overlap, because it's better to go bigger than smaller. As in, like, if you're bigger, you kind of like can fix it with the file, compared when it's smaller you can't really fix it at all, and on the side view it'll look like you're like missing a piece, or like if your nail is broken, and also your nail will be more likely to break. So now what we're going to do is use kids glue and put some on the tip, and what I do is I flip over the hand so that I see it the way that my clients would see their fingertips, their view, so that I know that the finger, like the nail won't be crooked, if that makes sense. Then I flip it over so I make sure that the nail is completely straight, and to me it works way better than just putting it flat. I don't know if that makes sense, but just try it out. After I finish each nail, I always ask them if they think it's straight as well, so if they don't, we can always go back and fix it. Now all the tips are glued, and we're just going to cut them to her desired length. So what we're doing now is using the same sanding band that we used on her natural nail bed, and we're just going to even it out from the natural nail bed to the tip, so there won't be no bump. It'll just be all even. As a beginner, you should always be careful with the nail drill, especially in the natural nails. I only use it at 4,000 RPMs or 5,000 RPMs. When I'm blending the nail tip, I can use it at 6, but I would never go beyond that. Now we're going to use pH bond, which is a primer, and it acts like a sticky layer to the natural nail bed and the gel. And we're going to put 2 coats so we know for a fact that these nails are going to stick on. And after that, we're going to go and put base coat, and I use the Beetles. I'm only going to put 1 layer of the Beetles on the nails just because it's not necessary. I usually bring it down. Some people don't, but I just feel like it's safer to bring it all the way down to the nail tip. So after we finish putting on the base coat, we're just going to cure in the lamp for 30 seconds and we'll be done with the prep work, and we'll finally get started with the polygel. We're just going to put a small bead on top, and this is a siesta from a card. So what you want to do is put the bead in the middle of the nail so you can work it into the cuticle instead of it being closer and overflowing. So now we're just going to put 70% alcohol in the container, and we're going to tap the product. We're not going to drag it. We're just going to tap into the cuticle so that the cuticle is, perfect. And we're just going to keep tapping. You don't have to drag it. The only time I ever drag it is when I'm doing an ombre, but the rest is I'm not putting any pressure. I'm just tapping it down. The brush that I'm using is really big compared to the polygel ones that they usually give in kits. A polygel tech recommended it to me, and she has a tips page. Her work is amazing. I'm gonna put her out of here. I'm gonna cure in the lamp for 40 seconds, and I'm gonna add another layer of siesta on top so that we build apex and also so the color can be opaque. Also, you want to make sure that you're cleaning up the sidewalls so that when we file, it wouldn't be as hard. It'll already keep the same shape. So now I'm going to grab a red gel polish, and I'm just going to paint the tip red. And I'm doing this because when I put the gold foil, I'd rather it be on top instead of the gel polish on top of the gold foil. So for this nail, we're basically doing the same process as we did for the nail, putting the bead in the middle of the nail and tapping into the cuticle area, but instead of tapping the product all the way down, we're slightly tapping it to the side so the red can show, and slightly dragging it to the side. You want to make sure that you're still cleaning up your sidewalls, and also I'm going to dip my brush again in some rubbing alcohol and clean up the line a little bit, try to make it as straight as I can. But if it's not as straight, it's okay because the gold foil is going to cover it up anyways. So now we're just going to lay some pieces of gold foil across the line and try to make it a little bit messy so it's in between the red and the polygel. Also try to push it in a little bit so that when the gel cures, the gold foil is stuck to it as well. And now we're just going to cure for another 40 seconds, and then I'm going to put some Clear on our pinky, our middle finger, and our thumb. And we're just going to repeat the same process, putting the bead in the middle of the nail and working it up to the cuticle, cleaning up the side walls. So now I'm going to use some acrylic clear and we're going to encapsulate the gold foil. You're going to see me tapping the product and also slightly dragging it so that it blends in with Siesta as well. So we're just going to cure for a minute and we're just going to build the apex and make sure that the nail isn't too thin or too thick. So now I'm going to take a lint-free wipe and some rubbing alcohol. We're just going to take off the sticky layer that's on top and we're just going to continue on with filing. So now we're going to use a Pana extra fine bit and we're going to leave a little space between the E-file and the bit. I'm using this at a 9,000 RPM, so you got to be real careful going around the cuticle area. So you have to make sure that you use it at a certain angle, not completely flat, because if you do, you can cut the client and take off product. By going around the cuticle area, I'm completely sealing it so that no water, nothing can get in, and we won't have lifting later on. We're also going all around the nail to make sure we have no humps or lumps and that we have the correct apex. So now we're just going to repeat the same process on every single finger, and after we're done, we're going to take a brush and some 70% alcohol to clean off all the dust under the nails as well, so nothing is sticking to it. I do this especially if I'm going to put some gel polish on top, so nothing is on there. It'll be easier to get on. So now I'm going to use the same red gel polish that we used earlier, and we're just going to put it all over the nail. If you get some on the skin, it's okay. All you have to do is get a thin, flat brush so that it'll be easier to take off with 100% acetone. So now we're just gonna cure for another 40 seconds, and I fast forward this part just because I was running out of space. After I finished putting red gel polish on all the clear nails, I just cured for 60 seconds. After I cured, all I'm gonna do is put some top coat on all the fingers except the pointer finger. We're just gonna do the line and we're gonna add some rhinestones. I really suck at explaining, but I hope you guys like this video and hopefully I can continue making more polygel videos. This is how they turned out and I really hope you guys like them. Thank you for watching.